concentrate on the important issues and remember your goals. Let me offer you a few examples of petty thinking versus big thinking.
First situation, working out expense accounts. The petty thinker will figure out ways to increase his income by chiseling or even cheating on expense accounts. The big thinker will figure out ways to increase his income by selling more merchandise and regard the expense account as just that, an expense account. On the idea of progress, the petty thinker believes in the status quo and in taking no chances. The big thinker believes in ideas, expansion, new challenges. On the matter of security, the petty thinker is preoccupied with security problems. The big thinker regards security as a natural companion of success and doesn't worry about it. The petty thinker magnifies minor errors and turns them into big issues. The big thinker ignores errors of little consequence and strives to learn from significant mistakes. So let's briefly sum up some of the tools for thinking big. Don't sell yourself short. Conquer the foe of self-deprecation. Concentrate on your assets. You're really a lot better than you think you are. Use the big thinker's vocabulary. Use big, bright, cheerful words. Use words that promise victory, hope, happiness, pleasure. Avoid words that create images of failure, defeat, and hopelessness. Stretch your vision. See what can be, not just what is. Practice adding value to things, to people, and especially to yourself. Get the big view of your job and of your life. Think, really believe that your present job is important and that you're important too. That next promotion depends mostly on how you think towards your present job. Finally, keep your mind above trivial things. Focus your attention on big objectives. Before getting involved in a petty matter, ask yourself, is it really important?
You've heard me use the word creative several times so far. I've made the point that thinking creatively is an important part of thinking big. But a lot of people are intimidated by that word creative. But they shouldn't be. Let me clear up a common fallacy about the meaning of creative thinking. Certain fields such as art and architecture and music and writing and science and a few others have been labeled creative. Now certainly, those fields do involve a lot of creativity, but creative thinking is not reserved for a few special occupations or a few special people. Well, then what is creative thinking? Let me give you some examples. When a low-income family devises a plan to send their children to college, believe me, that's creative thinking. When a neighborhood group turns the neighborhood's most undesirable lot into a beauty spot, that's creative thinking. When a minister develops a plan that doubles his Sunday attendance, he's simply applying creative thinking. Figuring out ways to simplify record keeping, coming up with a new use for a computer program, selling the impossible customer, keeping the kids occupied constructively. These are all examples of practical, everyday creative thinking. And they're just as creative as the architect's new bridge or the composer's new symphony. Creative thinking is simply finding new, better, improved ways of doing things. The rewards of all types of success, success at home, success at work, success in the community, all hinge on finding ways to do things better. Now, let's see what we can do to develop and strengthen our creative thinking ability.
The first step is to simply believe it can be done. Here again is that basic truth. To do anything, you must first believe in it. Believing something can be done sets the mind in motion to find ways to do it. To illustrate this, David Schwartz often asks groups in motivation and training sessions this question: do you feel that it's possible to eliminate jails in the next 25 years? Think about this question for a moment. Now, what's your reaction to the question? Did your mind begin searching for ways to accomplish the challenge that the question raises, to eliminate jails in 25 years? Or did you give it a few moments consideration and simply reject the possibility? If you're like most people, you probably did the latter, rejected the proposition altogether, and decided, no, it's simply not possible to eliminate jails in 25 years. In fact, most people immediately think of all the reasons we have to have jails: keeping the populace safe from criminals, keeping order on our streets, the fact that some criminals are incorrigible, and so forth. But the question is asked to make a point. For just a few moments, forget the reasons that we have to have jails, and just assume that we can eliminate jails in 25 years. Make the assumption. If this could be done, how would you propose we begin? What kinds of things could be done as alternatives? Pause for a moment and give that some thought. Did you have any ideas? If you did, you're not alone. David Schwartz has a list of 78 specific ideas that people have come up with in his seminars to begin the process of eliminating jails. Things like establishing youth centers to cut down on crime, conducting research to spot potential criminals before they commit a crime, working to eliminate poverty, educating law enforcement personnel in positive methods of reform. Now, the point of this, again, is not really to eliminate jails. The point is to illustrate that when you believe something is impossible, your mind goes to work for you to prove why it's impossible. But when you really believe that something can be done, your mind goes to work and helps you find ways to do it.
You, the one who thought you weren't going to make it, who thought you couldn't get up again, who thought it was over, who thought it was the worst day you've ever had, your track record for surviving bad days is 100%. So what would make you think that you won't survive the next bad day? Because God keeps getting you up over and over and over again. So when I fall, I just get up again. Man, he is really good at this. So I got labeled the hardest working man in Hollywood because of my father. My father was a coal miner. He was very poor. My father made $5 a day. He was a coal miner. He had 5 kids. My mother was a Sunday school teacher. My mother taught Sunday school. My mother never worked a day in her life. My father took care of my mother and all his kids. So my father taught me very young. He said, listen to me, son. They can out-sing you. They can outrun you. There were people who can out-jump you. There are people who will outdress you. There are some people who can out-talk you. There are some boys who can out-throw you. There are some people who can out-dance you. But don't you let no man living outwork you. Nobody can outwork me. I don't care who you are. It doesn't matter. I bet you can't. I bet you can't. You can't outwork me. You might be smarter than me, but you can't outwork me. You can't out-hustle me, not Steve Harvey. I'm a hustler, man. I'm a bad man. I'm a hustler for real. No one, I don't care how much money they got. I don't care what color they are. I don't care what their family name is. You cannot outwork me. I won't let you. If you stay up for 5 hours, I stay up for 6. If you go to bed at 11, I go to bed at midnight. If you get up at 6, I get up at 5. If you go to lunch for an hour, I go to lunch for 45 minutes. If you come to work early, I come in earlier than you. That's how I work. So my first TV show was Showtime at the Apollo. Now, I had been homeless when I got this TV show. I had been homeless for 3 years. I lived in a car. But I was telling jokes, and so I had some videotapes, and they saw it, and they asked me to come and perform. I performed. I did well. They asked me to come again. I did well again. They offered me the job of hosting Showtime at the Apollo. They paid me. It was the most unbelievable feeling because, you look, I went from zero money to back then in 1992, I think I made about 1992, I made about $22,000 a week. Now listen to me. In Hollywood, that's nothing. That's nothing. But for me, it was everything. You go from zero to $22,000, you gotta be kidding me. I thought I was rich. And to me, I was rich. And so that first check, I spent all of it. I didn't even try to save no money. I took it to the bank, I cashed it. I got $22,000 cash in my pocket. I was not leaving my money in the bank because I had been homeless so long, I needed my money in my pocket. I had